I'm going to say something that not a lot of women are comfortable admitting, but I'm not afraid of honesty anymore. Yes, I faked it. I've moaned when I didn't feel a thing. I've smiled when I wanted to pause. I've said, "That was amazing," when deep down I felt more disconnected than satisfied. I'm not proud of it, but I won't pretend it didn't happen, because I know I'm not the only one. Most women I know have faked it at least once, and many of us have done it more often than we'd like to confess. We don't do it because we enjoy lying or because we want to manipulate anyone. In fact, it's usually the opposite. We fake it to avoid making our partner feel embarrassed, inadequate, or rejected. Sometimes we're simply tired, not in the mood to explain, or not sure how to bring up what's not working without killing the moment. And other times we go through the motions because we feel expected to react a certain way, like it's our role to reward effort with performance. There's this subtle pressure that lingers in many intimate situations, especially when the focus quietly shifts toward whether or not she'll climax, as if that's the finish line, the proof of satisfaction. And the truth is, when it starts to feel like a test we're being graded on, we shut down. Not because we don't want to enjoy it, but because pleasure isn't something that happens under pressure. It's something that unfolds when there's space, when there's trust, when there's genuine connection, not just physical friction. I can't count how many times I stayed silent when I should have spoken up. There were moments when things didn't feel right, too fast, too rough, too mechanical, and I said nothing. Not because I didn't want to hurt someone, but because I didn't want to be labeled as cold, complicated, or hard to please. I just wanted the moment to pass, and maybe next time would feel better. But faking it became a habit, and that habit became a wall between me and any real intimacy. I don't say this with bitterness. I say it with clarity. Because for the longest time I didn't even know what I really needed. I thought if I followed the rhythm, if I looked the part, if I said the right words, maybe the feeling would eventually catch up. But it rarely did. Because what I needed wasn't better technique. It wasn't someone who knew all the moves. What I needed was someone who cared enough to notice, who paid attention to my breath, to my body language, to the subtle shifts that say more than words ever could. So if you're wondering what women want, what we're really longing for, it's not fireworks or flawless performances. It's presence. It's slowness. It's the feeling that we're not just being touched but being understood. We want to feel like we can say, "Can we try something else?" without fear of ruining the moment. We want to know that if we don't climax, it's not treated as failure. And above all, we want to feel like we're allowed to be in the experience, not performing it. When I finally stopped pretending, everything changed, not just in the bedroom but in how I felt about myself. I realized that for years, I had been shrinking myself in those intimate moments, making sure everyone else was comfortable while I stayed quiet. And the saddest part is, I didn't even think it was unusual. I thought that was just how it was. You go along, you say thank you, you move on. But here's what I've learned. The real connection begins when two people are willing to be awkward with each other. When they can laugh. When they can pause and say, "Wait, does this feel good for you?" without fear of rejection. That's when intimacy stops being an act and becomes something real. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be honest. Because once a woman feels safe enough to tell the truth, you'll see a side of her that's raw, open, and unforgettable. So what do women really want in bed? We want to feel like we're allowed to take up space. Not just physically but emotionally. We want you to slow down, not just with your hands but with your attention. We want to be asked questions, not assumed. We want to know that it's okay if things don't follow a script, if pleasure takes time, or if it looks different every time. We don't want to be seen as puzzles to solve. We want to be explored with patience and curiosity. One of the most powerful moments I ever had with a partner didn't involve anything dramatic. There was no fancy move, no perfect timing. He just stopped and looked at me, really looked, and said, "Tell me what you like." Not in a commanding way. Not like he was trying to impress me. Just genuine interest. And that changed everything. In that moment, I felt like I had permission to exist fully, not just as a body but as a person. And once that wall came down, I didn't need to fake anything. Let me be clear. This isn't about blaming men or making them feel like they've done something wrong. I truly believe that most men want to please their partners. They want to connect. But many of them have been misled just like we have. They've been taught that sex is about performance, about outcome, about hitting the right spots at the right time. No one really taught them how to slow down, to listen, to be in the moment with a woman who may not always respond the way movies tell us she should. So this is about rewriting that story together. It's about being brave enough to ask your partner, "Are you really enjoying this?" And being open to whatever the answer may be. It's about inviting feedback, not fearing it. It's about understanding that real intimacy starts when both people are allowed to be fully human, messy, imperfect, curious, and open. And if you're with a woman who has faked it in the past, don't take it as an insult. Take it as a chance to begin again. Because the fact that she's still there, still showing up, still hoping to be seen, that means there's something worth building. And you don't have to be perfect to do it. You just have to be present. We don't want to fake it. We never did. What we want is to feel safe enough to stop pretending. To speak. To move. To pause. To ask. To laugh. To breathe. To be. And if you can hold space for that, for the truth instead of the performance, then you won't just be someone we remember. You'll be someone we trust. And trust, more than anything else, is where real pleasure begins.